It's Wednesday, August 11th. We're earning that namesake today. What If premieres on Disney Plus, and we saw The Suicide Squad not once, but twice. This is Mostly Superheroes. Hello and welcome to Mostly Superheroes. Andy's interrupting me right here in the intro. Here we are, back in the studio. You guys don't know it, but we actually talk during the intro of this. Patreon patrons.
Well, we didn't know that we could talk during it until you told us. You spoiled it.
Until like 6 months in. But This is Mostly Superheroes, weekly pursuit for the world's best stories, with an emphasis on live-action superhero stuff. I'm your host, Logan. Go ahead, Gandy. Gandy. Gandy, I like that. That's your nickname number 2. Andy, how you doing, Mr. Giggler? Give you a round of applause here.
I am so great. I'm off on Friday, play some golf with some buddies, and just trying to get by life until there.
Yeah, you've been taking off during the summer. You're doing it right, I feel like.
Yeah.
You're one of these guys where they're like, oh man, Andy, he's out all the time, because you're using those summer vacation days.
Yeah, I don't like to keep those on until the end of the year. Then you're just taking off when it's cold. This is the time to shine.
I've seen you 2 days in a row again.
I love it.
We saw The Suicide Squad for a second time last night in IMAX.
What do you do tomorrow?
Yeah, we just go see it. Do it again.
I don't know. You could hang out.
Oh, maybe I will. PC Mike.
Oh shit, you're leaving.
Yeah, I'm going out of town. I'm going to Michigan. PC Mike, welcome back. Two in a row.
2 in a row feels good.
Feels nice.
It's almost a streak.
You didn't wear a polo this time.
I did not. I didn't have to work.
I'm paranoid already.
Am I going to be on today?
All right, you're on camera. We didn't leave you. We didn't leave you hanging. If you're a YouTube watcher or Facebook, yeah, Mike was just. I figured it out though. I just took one picture of you, and that's you the whole time.
Just the frozen body. But, yeah.
Andy thought that his brand new projector was freezing. You were watching Mostly Superheroes on the projector at your house.
Yes.
How was that?
It was amazing. I'm gonna do it every week now.
Andy's a little vain. He's like, look at this look at this comment I did.
Yeah, Steph, look at this funny joke I'm about to make.
You work next to your wife we got this work from home life going. You got a new projector, and it's above your seat, so it's kind of like I feel like you probably feel like you're working at the ESPN zone.
Oh, it's amazing.
Yeah,
there's just screens, big screen.
Hell yeah, dude!
With my beautiful face on it.
Well, I'm not surprised at all. From the guy that has two.
How many TVs?
Two TVs in his living room. Now you've got basically a third one in your living room almost.
Yes.
Good to see you guys. Good to have you back. This is a jam-packed episode. We got some good what you watching. We got some fans we're going to highlight. And yeah, 2 big features today, sort of. The meat is going to be The Suicide Squad. Cannot wait to talk about this. And big news in the Marvel world, MCU just debuted What If? And we're going to talk about that during what you watching. But first, as always, let's open it up with the fans.
Fan mail.
Remember to call. If I can, I don't know if I can be any clearer. You need to call this phone number. If you're you right now. Yes, you listening. 754 call log. 754-225-5564. What do you think?
If you're driving, just pull over.
Just pull over. Do this safely. And I see Andy. He's putting it in his phone right now. You need to text this to your friends. I'm in the Mostly Superheroes Squad on Facebook, our private, free, exclusive Facebook group. Go join it. It's fun.
Private, free, exclusive.
I'm calling it right now.
But now people are just getting yelled at.
Is that the phone right
It
there?
is, but I have it on a mode that just is on voicemail mode, so it won't like actively ring.
Oh, gotcha.
Plus, we'd have like an echo thing. We need people from outside this room to call in. Otherwise, we're gonna start calling people.
I agree.
And you don't want to just be called and put on the spot in the radio show. That's like the nightmare, right?
They have to be. Like, you listen to those on like local radio, Z1077 here, and they're like, all right, let's call this guy you went out with that's cheating on you. No one answers phone numbers they don't have anymore. For one.
Yeah.
And then like they admit it and it's like this big thing. That has to be fake. Like, we've done this for 40 years now.
Yeah.
Has to be fake, right?
I think that probably it's a percentage, right? You probably got like 25% of those that are actually real, and the other half is just like, let's just I mean, I worked at a radio station in Lincoln, Nebraska. I was on the morning show. I
Let's
was
get
the
her-
intern.
Let's call her out. Let's call her right now.
And it'd be like, okay. And you almost like, you might even be the real person, but yeah, you're giving some heads up. Well, this is your heads up, listener. We are looking for people. It's so easy. You can send us a text. You can leave a voicemail. It's fun. We featured our boy Scotty one time, and that's been our only one so far.
Well, we had another, but it was you.
Well, that was,
Little
yeah, the
peek
first
behind the curtain.
the first one ever was, yeah, you asked about who fakes. I guess we're at 50-50.
That was
Yes,
the
we're at 50. We're
alternate
high-
dimension Logan.
Hey,
Yeah.
it's higher than 25.
Hey, it's not bad, but give us a call, 754-CALL-LOG. We're dying to hear from you. And this one actually comes from a person we featured before from our YouTube channel. We actually featured this guy many months ago. It was episode 29, our review of Black Widow. And it's Anthony A. Perez from YouTube, so you guys might remember him. He said, hey, guys, sorry for checking this out so late, but I greatly appreciate the shout-out. Loved listening to this on my drive. Keep up the good work, fellas.
You keep up the good work, Anthony.
Yeah, man. I mean, I like that he's honest. He's like, hey, it took me a while to get here, but I did hear it, heard his shout out, and I love hearing the payoff of a fan hearing that shout out on air. So, Anthony A. Perez, appreciate you, man. Keep checking us out. We'll keep showing you some love, and it's that easy to get featured during Fan Mail again. Facebook group, mostlysuperheroes.com, and the studio phone. You choose. Next up, let's do some news.
News and rumors.
One piece of news today because we are pretty packed, as I mentioned. We talked about Venom, Let There Be Carnage last week. We were scared that the date might get pushed back. The good news is, guys, don't worry. It has not been pushed back in the U.S. However, it has been pushed back international date. So this comes at us at comicbook.com. Charlie Ridgely over there. This is August 9th, just a couple days ago. Looks like the international date has been pushed back from September 23rd to October 11th, I think this says. 14th.
14th, yeah.
So this is Australia, I think New Zealand, a handful of other foreign dates have been pushed. This is it. This is the news. Because who knows? This is just a little scary because Andy mentioned it last week. He's like, well, hopefully they don't push it back here in the U.S. This could be an indicator that they are, man, if one date's going to be pushed back in another country, you can only assume the U.S. is on the list of maybe doing this.
I don't know. New Zealand, locked down hard.
They had it bad?
No. That's why they locked. I don't think they did. That's why they locked down. I think last summer they were festivals and stuff they had.
They were one of the countries that did it pretty well.
They're like, we're not doing
Yeah.
anything. Everyone's locking down.
Yeah.
You're at home. And then I think last year, I would get videos sent to me look at everybody in New Zealand just partying it up. Everyone was having a good time. So I think they take it super serious, which they should. And they probably just shut it down and said, hey, in 2 weeks, if this is under control, we'll show the movie.
You think other countries are just some are just doing it way better than we're doing it, and it's just chaos over here? Because it feels like chaos right now.
I think so.
These variants happening, more mask mandates. We're talking about lockdowns and pushing back stuff. I mean, this is all theoretical, but still, man, this is stressful.
I think we have more surface area than some countries like New Zealand.
Just more
I think
land.
more state governments have more control than national and things like that. Separations of state and national governments versus states and counties doing their own thing. We just all can't get on the same page.
Yeah, well, I mean,
and
St.
haven't
Louis
been
is
forever.
St. Louis is a shining example of that. We're there's how many municipalities instead of just one big city? It's hey man, I don't want to be anti-border. I'm not gonna make a statement on what I feel about borders in general, but it seems like the more you cut it all up, the more complicated it becomes.
More cooks in the kitchen.
More cooks in the kitchen, and what you end up with is people screaming at each other. Been watching the news here locally about people screaming about wearing these masks. People are not.
Got rejected today.
It
Or
did
yesterday. Yeah.
got rejected in the county again. Yeah, the county and the city seem to be on different pages. Anyway.
I just take a mask with me in my pocket.
Yep.
If they wear it,
I know.
I wear it. If
Yeah.
not, just be smart.
That's how I'm
That's all.
navigating
Just
it.
be smart.
And I'm also a big fan of just you got to default to definitely the business owner. Wherever
Mhm.
you're going, just be prepared to follow the rules there, man. Everybody's just trying to get through the day. Well, that being said, international dates push, comicbook.com, appreciate it. Hopefully this will not happen in the US. So this is more, just kind of on the radar type thing. Andy, do you have any thoughts here?
I just hope it doesn't. I'm selfish. I don't care if this movie gets delayed, but if this gets delayed, I'm worried about No Way Home getting delayed.
Yeah, that's the real one, right?
Yeah.
This one gets delayed, we'd be kind of sad, but No Way Home gets pushed back. The Eternals,
and the more that they're oh wow, I didn't even think about that.
Shang-Chi, man.
Yeah.
Shang-Chi's in 3 weeks.
Yeah.
So we just got to make it to that.
Yeah. hopefully we do. I just I don't want that to be the trend, because that's a dangerous slope we're going down for sure.
Especially after the Shang-Chi trailer that we saw before the Suicide Squad. This was the third trailer I've seen. It was different than the first two I've seen.
And great to see on IMAX. Oh,
amazing
man.
on IMAX.
I was like, I'll be seeing that movie in IMAX, 100%.
I was literally pumped up for that was the first time. That was the first time that I actually got like really pumped up about the movie. I was
seeing it on IMAX, like seeing it.
Yeah.
And the trailer I think was a newer trailer that I hadn't seen. They showed just like different cuts, and I was just getting a better picture of like who this guy is. And basically this character seems like he always kind of knew the family he was coming from and was trying to, be a different person. And like it's like the impacts from his father and the generations before him are just too powerful and impactful. So Shang-Chi, man, please don't get pushed back.
It looks awesome.
Looks pretty good. All right, that's the news for today. Pretty nice and tight. Comicbook.com. Appreciate it. We'll have the link to this article in our description if you want to read more about that international delay of Venom. And with that, let's get into what we're watching.
What you watching?
All right, what you watching? It's where we tell you what we're watching each and every week. You can tell us what you're watching. You reach out all the ways that you know how. Facebook, the website. We'll get you right here at the beginning of this segment. We'll feature fans first. This week, it's just really me and Mike. Andy's is pretty light, and that's okay because of the big stuff we're talking about. PC Mike, tell us about this movie on HBO Max starring Vince Vaughn, Catherine Newton. I've never seen it. It's called Freaky.
Freaky is on HBO Max. Very fun, lighthearted watch. Vince Vaughn is a serial killer, and I guess Catherine Newton is a high school, getting through high school, and Vince Vaughn goes on a killing spree. Something happens, and they switch bodies like in Freaky Friday.
Okay.
So it's kind of figuring all that out, but it has a serial killer vibe with it. There's some pretty gory stuff in here, like some good, to start off, it's a very good like slasher film, and then there's some more lighthearted stuff as it comes through. Good watch, fun watch, easy watch, nice Friday night, have a couple drinks, hang out, watch. Nothing too deep, but again, it's a Vince Vaughn movie. It's like an hour and 30 minutes. So
I'm gonna continue to keep putting us on the spot like this, so be prepared. Even for myself, I need to be better about it. What's the rating?
I give it a solid 3.0.
Okay, 3.0.
Like wow. If it was on TV, I'd watch it again.
Is this new?
Yeah. It came out last year.
Yeah, last year.
So, but it didn't hit theaters because of all the stuff. So then I think it kind of just slipped onto HBO, but I enjoyed it.
And you watched this with Rachel.
I actually think she was watching a Below Deck marathon upstairs, so I watched something else.
I love how you guys coordinate your watching stuff. That's awesome. Freaky, HBO Max. Yeah, I think this is, if I'm not mistaken, I think it's the same people that made, what's the horror slasher movie? Now it's escaping me, of course. The one where Death Day.
Yes, Happy Death Day and stuff like that.
You like those?
Yeah.
Well, then, Andy, I think you might like this. Plus, PC might give it a 3.0, so we'll add it to the list.
It's got like an 84 on Rotten Tomatoes.
Pretty good. Freaky, HBO Max. You heard it here, 3.0 from PC Mike. And if me and Andy watch it, we'll bring it back. Let us know if you're watching it out there. You got another one, Mike. Really interested to hear about this. I had not even heard about it until you texted it. Still haven't seen it. Go ahead.
I got in a little documentary kick the other day. I did not submit one documentary that I watched that was on HBO Max. And it was about a steamboat that was found in a cornfield in Kansas.
What?
Because the Missouri River changed and it flooded, and they got all these artifacts from a steamboat they found in a cornfield. It is on HBO.
What's it called?
I forget. But
oh man, well, I guess
there's a museum dedicated to it in Kansas City. I'll look it up as we're doing stuff.
That's fine.
But I started. It's a 3-parter, and this first one was over 2 hours. I think I'm about an hour in. But it's about Barack Obama in the pursuit of a more perfect union, just kind of how he grew up and a little bit more into his life, and some interviews of people that were close to him, and kind of seeing a little different side of him. I love documentaries, and I was like, I'm going to get back into a little bit of documentaries and trying to enrich myself and not just watch Freaky with Vince Vaughn and try to be a little better. But so far, so good. Cool seeing some older photos and stuff like that, and some old interviews, and just kind of how he cut his teeth and came up through the ranks.
And I know it's hard to rate documentaries, but do you think do you feel a rating coming on right now?
I don't, because I've only watched 1/6.
Oh, I see.
So
my bad.
There's 3 parts.
I missed that.
I've watched the first hour of the first part because they're long. They're like 2-hour features a piece, I think.
How was the first one?
I mean, the first one was great. I think it's well done.
Okay.
Good interviews.
Okay.
I mean, if you're into kind of historical, political documentaries, this would be something that will blow up your skirt.
You know about this, Giggler?
I didn't know about this, but I'm gonna watch it. Love Barrio.
Barrio, I love it. All right, Obama, In Pursuit of a More Perfect Union. That's also on HBO Max. HBO getting some real love today. Always interesting to see the different streaming services that make it onto our show. This one's going to change it up. This is Netflix. This was on a list of 3 that Mike said I had to watch after I told him I've really been diving deep into thrillers lately. Carrie and I have really been enjoying any thriller we can get on. The first one we watched from your list, Mike, Mystic River. It is on Netflix. Sean Penn, Tim Robbins, Kevin Bacon, Lawrence Fishburne, Marcia Gay Harden, and Laura Linney. This was a great watch. Had a great time. It definitely kept me guessing. It was exactly what I wanted. Is that, my favorite thing about thrillers is, what do they show you? What do you think is going to happen next? Me and Carrie are big fans of, if we pause to go get the popcorn or something, little prediction town, so like where they're going with this, who done it. And I mean, you got Sean Penn, Tim Robbins. Tim Robbins is like a psychopath looking guy in this thing. And Kevin Bacon's a cop. So, I mean, it's pretty cool. He's partnered up with Lawrence Fishburne. Mike already talked about this a little bit. This is totally spoiler free. I absolutely say if you're a thriller fan, you got to go watch it. I thought it dipped a little bit at points where it got a little slow. To where, I always can tell when it's getting slow for me. I'm just like, it's very, like, I'm like, oh, I'll start reaching for my phone or something. Like, you've lost my attention. That happened just a couple times, but overall, man, 90% of this was really, really great for that. I'll go and throw it a rating. I'll give it a 3.1. Yeah, really liked it. Are you proud?
I am.
I mean, I did it.
I know you did.
That's a good referral. If you tell someone to watch a movie and they rate it.
Well, he wasn't even
3.1
looking
out
at
of
me, and I'm like, hey, mother effer. Like, I
I
watched this movie you made me watch. Like, so much that he mentioned it in the show.
Literally looking up Mystic River things.
Oh, PC Mike's just doing his job. Anything that you should add that I didn't? I mean, that's a pretty loose review.
I mean, directed by Clint Eastwood.
Yes, good job.
Sean Penn and Tim Robbins both won Oscars for their performances.
How's the ratings? Is it? Did you look up any of that, like Rotten Tomato or anything? Like, what other people think of this? Is this going to be like?
I mean, it's an 88 on Rotten Tomatoes. It's an 84 on Metacritic, and it's an 8 on IMDb.
In 2004, right?
2003.
2003, Mystic River. Okay, cool. I enjoyed it. If you're a thriller fan, you will too. And it's on Netflix. How easy is that?
Yeah, perfect.
And one more for you, PC Mike, before we head into our mini meet, I'll call it, MCU Town. Tell us about this thing. I had not heard of this either. The Orange Years, the Nickelodeon story. It's on Hulu.
So again, documentary Dave. You might call me some people call me Dave.
Yeah, that's right. I knew that so much that I didn't even think to say it. I go, yep.
But the Orange Years, the Nickelodeon story, a couple buddies watched it and they're like, hey, you got to watch it. And I watched it. It's just nostalgia.
Oh, yes.
Vomiting down your throat, basically.
I can't.
They go through the beginnings. I didn't really know the beginning.
Double Dare, all that.
Went through every show. Gave every show 5 to 10 minutes to talk about.
Wow.
So they started in the very beginning. They talked to even what a Nickelodeon machine was. I didn't even know that. It's like a viewing machine. That's
What?
a Nickelodeon back in the day.
Oh, yeah. I remember hearing that word recently, and I thought to myself, I don't actually know what Nickelodeon means.
Yeah. And then
So what is that? It's a watching.
It's like a viewing machine, like Warner Brothers had it back in the day. Like
And
you'd watch things through it. So that was a Nickelodeon.
Early days TV.
Early, yeah.
Okay.
And then they went through the beginnings of why they watched it. They even went through why they picked the colors. They went through their mindset, and then they started to go through shows, and they went through all the shows. They had some, not every single show, like they didn't talk about every single cartoon or every single thing, but they talked about, just to name a few, Hey Dude. They talked about Guts. They talked about Double Dare, Nick Arcade, had Legends of the Hidden Temple.
Oh, yeah.
Secret World Alex Mack, all that.
Hell yeah.
Are You Afraid of the Dark? Ren and Stimpy, Keenan and Kel. And then they kind of went through all that, and then said when they closed down it's kind of where the Orange Years, I guess, is when they were at the studio where you could go view
so
it.
that's what
so
the Orange Years are. It's like these were the days at the Nickelodeon studio.
Yeah. So then they kind of went through all that and just kind of.
They talk about slime?
Yes. They talked about Gak selling the slime.
Oh my
They talked
God.
about Rocko's Modern Life.
Yes.
They talked about Rugrats.
Doug?
And Doug. Those were the 3 main cartoons they talked about. So there are 3 main cartoons that started it. She went out. She wanted their big thing was they wanted to find original content that didn't have a source material.
Mm-hmm.
So like what was popular then was Ninja Turtles.
Yeah.
Well, they're from a comic book and now they're just selling toys.
Power Rangers, X-Men.
Selling toys. That's
Yep.
all. But they wanted original. Their first 3, I think, were Doug,
Doug was so good.
Rugrats,
I mean, obviously one of the best.
and I think Ren and Stimpy. Those were the 3 they picked to
Wasn't
start with.
allowed to watch it.
Yeah. So, and they said it was for kids.
My mom said it was too raunchy, I think was the word she used.
And they wanted to push the envelope to say like, this is for kids. Salute your shorts. They talked about.
Salute your shorts.
Like this is for kids.
Pete and Pete.
Yeah, Pete and Pete.
Clarissa explains it all.
Talked about that. All those.
Wow.
All right, the Orange Years.
It's like an hour and a half on Netflix or on Hulu.
Yeah,
I'm jacked to
Yeah,
watch
watch
this.
it.
All of us getting our 8-year-old selves are just getting all amped up over here. The
I
Orange.
give it like a 3.3 just because of it's just fun. Like if you're around our age, 30ish, like those are the shows you grew up with.
Yeah, for sure. Andy, you're gonna watch this like right when you get home.
Probably after we finish Outer Banks and Mythic Quest. This is first.
Yeah, there you go. Orange Years, Nickelodeon story. It's on my list. Hulu, right? Hulu Premium.
I just have Hulu regular.
Hulu is like, but like if you have Hulu, you pay at least something for it. Like
yeah, I have the bundle, so I have like the Disney Plus, Hulu,
ESPN.
and ESPN bundle. I literally think there was a commercial in the very beginning, and there wasn't one throughout the whole thing.
All right. The Orange Years. Can't wait to watch this thing. Nice and tight. What you watching today? But before we wrap up what you watching, we got one more episode of a show that just premiered today. Let's open this thing up real quick, and then we'll take a break and get into the meat, which is the Suicide Squad. First up in the MCU, Marvel Cinematic Universe has gone animated. A new show premiered today on Disney Plus on August 11th. This is the 28th MCU title, just in terms of release. So every time we talk about that order, we're always talking about when it was released. This is the 28th MCU title, first to be animated and streaming today. It's got an 8.5 so far on IMDb. It's only been out for 12 hours, and 85% of Google users do like this movie. Mike, it's been, I think it was the morning when I checked some of that. So maybe as we talk about this, if you proactively look up some stuff, maybe we can see how it's doing since the days, we're getting to the end of the day here. Episode 1, man. I also need a little help on the title of this thing. I forgot about the title of the first episode, but this one is a what if scenario told to you by the Watcher.
What if Peggy Carter was the first Avenger?
That's exactly what it was. Let's go ahead and give it up. Going to give it up because this is a first of its kind show. We've been talking about this thing weeks on end. This was announced at Comic-Con like 2 years ago, along with that first slate of Phase 4 announcements. Kevin Feige's up on stage talking about what this show might be. And at that time, I was lukewarm about it. And as the weeks have gone on, the years at this point, and now the recent weeks, I've just been getting really, really jazzed for it. And yeah, this first one is exactly what it says. What if Peggy Carter got that super soldier serum instead of Steve Rogers? I believe the episode was 33 minutes, according to Disney Plus, and then it came in, around 25. These are ballparks, so if you guys got officials, let me know. But around 25-minute episodes, nice and tight, nice and easy. We'll talk about the story, but I want to go around immediately and just get that gut reaction. Giggler, you first. How did this sit with you when those credits ran?
I hope the other episodes are better. That's my first reaction.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think I was excited for this as you were at first, but so my expectations were a little bit lower, but it's still, I was just like, I'm not that excited to watch the next one.
And like as you went, you just
I guarantee it'll be Wednesday, and I'll wake up and I'll be like, yes, what if time?
Right.
Again.
But the first one didn't wow you.
But yeah, exactly.
PC Mike, really excited to hear what you thought of this.
I'm in the same with Andy. I mean, it was fine to watch. It was entertaining, but it's hard to me to like look up different things like we would for WandaVision and try to like find those little niches and things.
Yeah.
I don't know. There's an old video game, and I just had to relook it up, that was on the GameCube back in the day that I played called 13. Has anyone played this? It had that same animation. That's all I could think about was
like the same type of animation.
Yeah, that's all I could think about was their animation. I know it's their first one. I don't know. It just seemed kind of choppy a little bit.
A little bit.
And I was seeing on comments online, and everyone said everyone liked it. It was okay, but everyone's like, it's too short.
Yeah,
like
really
you
short.
Took 25 minutes to tell a full story,
a full movie,
and you took emotions and like there's just not enough character development. Basically, they said.
Yeah,
for what's in.
Well, that's a really interesting point, just because let's just talk about what this actually is and get into it. I mean, my gut reaction is, I'm going to tell you right now, so you can get the don't bury the lead here. I also thought it was pretty lukewarm. I was very excited about it, and I was kind of scared that maybe I put my expectations too high. And the truth is, everything you just said, Mike, I can totally echo it. It just felt fast, which it's a cartoon. And yeah, let's get into this right now and then explain how we feel as we talk about it. So the premise here, right? Very quick, right? What's the intro? Like 15 seconds of the Watcher being like, I'm the Watcher. There's multiple dimensions and multiverses and timelines. These are the stories I'm going to tell you about. Here's the first one. Okay, Steve Rogers. This is where it got cool, because you're like, I know what happens in Captain America, the First Avenger. Steve Rogers is going to get that machine, and he's going to get the super soldier serum. Instead, just one little thing changed. And spoiler alert for the episode. And this inevitably lands Peggy Carter. Help me with voices here too, Mike, if you don't mind. Haley Atwell did come back, it sounded like, I believe. But I could be wrong. And this is where it gets tough. Is that her, Haley Atwell?
Yep.
So that's the actual Peggy Carter.
Yep.
I'm going to say that the guy that played Steve Rogers was not Chris Evans. Or was it?
I didn't.
Nope.
I didn't get that.
I
vibe
knew
either.
it. I knew it.
Skinny. They call him Skinny Steve Rogers on Wikipedia. It was Josh Keaton.
Okay, that's fine. This is great that you have the cast pulled up. I knew it wasn't him, though. I was like, he sounds a lot like him, but it's not quite him. All right, so Peggy Carter, she gets the serum, and she's Captain Britain. Now, this is where you can't help but watch the show, and you're like, what are going to be all the differences, right? I mean, this one little thing changes, like, some really big stuff. Like, for one, Howard Stark, that was him, voicing Howard Stark.
Ding, ding, ding.
Who's that?
Dominic Cooper.
Dominic Cooper, he was back. I could definitely tell that was his voice.
Yeah.
I love it. I love that he was in the whole episode. Like, what a cool way to bring back Marvel characters you haven't seen in a long time, or somebody like him that's like out of time, and now he's on the screen again, right? And it does look a lot like him. You know, with this animation, I didn't think of the game you mentioned, Mike, but what I thought of was the movie Anastasia. Like, I couldn't get that out of my head. Like, that's an older movie too, but like the animation style felt very similar.
It does look like a video game. I can't explain it. Like those Telltale video games or whatever.
Yeah. I mean, this is the game. And I know you guys can't see it at home, but like that's the game.
Well, I
Like-
can
Oh, I
pull it
remember
up. What's the
that
game
game,
called
yeah.
again?
13. It's from
13,
2003.
or 2003.
It's like very
GameCube.
comic. It's made out of a comic book.
Yeah.
And like their split screens would go boom, 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 and like dash it through and stuff like that.
It was okay. You know one thing they changed up really big from Captain America: The First Avenger, that like I was like, wait, how did this happen? Just because Peggy Carter became Captain Britain was when Howard Stark.
Captain Carter.
Captain Carter.
But it did change your whole uniform.
But everybody called her Captain Britain too, didn't they?
I don't know if anyone
didn't
said
notice. Yeah, I don't think
that. I just
so.
know her costume was.
I swear they
It was
said Captain Carter because I looked.
It is
up
Captain
episode-
Carter. You're right.
Yeah, that's what was in the episode title. I said Peggy Carter, but it's Captain Carter.
Was I just calling her Captain Britain because of the flag and everything on the shield?
Maybe.
I originally was like when I was thinking.
It
about
makes you think of it. I mean, I
this
don't think it's that
episode,
big
yeah.
a flub.
It's
it's a
not,
flub.
but still, I think it's a cool name, Captain Britain. But either way, you know what he builds with they get that Tesseract first of all pretty quickly
Mhm.
from Red Skull, and he puts it in an Iron Man suit that he built.
In the 40s or whatever.
I mean, that wasn't in the Captain America movie at all, though.
No.
But I understand this is a different world. But like the Watcher's point was that one little phrase she said, like she's like, "I'll stay down here with you, Steve." He's like, "That changed everything," and I was like, "Well, Howard Stark never had that suit,
No.
so
Took his son to go in a cave and
yeah,
figure it out.
yeah." I mean, that came from Tony Stark. But either way, that was very different. It was fine though. You know what else I noticed? Captain Carter, I mean, way stronger than Captain America, and
Stopping trucks and stuff.
way tougher. Like just putting her shoulder, like Superman,
Yeah.
like hitting people and punching people like 30 feet away. And that moment, I thought, okay, this is a cartoon, and they're just leaning into like this is a cartoon. You can be a little more free with that stuff, I guess. But
That's exactly where I was like in my head. I'm like, this is a cartoon, but I can't it's also canon. So I'm like, I don't know how to.
exactly,
I don't know how to.
And she
like,
learned quick.
put these
too.
things together. I think my brain is also like confused because all these other shows, like in the back of our head, we're like, okay, what's going on with this show and how's it going to affect the MCU going forward?
right?
This, I mean, I guess we have to acknowledge that could happen. I mean, I found this quote that I was looking for that I said earlier about the potential for the characters to be in live action from the show.
Yeah, you had. Yeah, go
Eventually.
ahead. You tell us about it.
So, in an interview with Inverse, executive producer Brad Winterbaum suggested that what if characters could potentially receive their own live-action spin-offs?
Well, yeah, we know that. I mean, Disney's doing it right now with everything else. They're like, it's like, what if,
yeah.
what if
What if we made
Peggy
money off
Carter,
everything?
and like it's just a whole season of that, you know? I mean, but you said live action.
Yeah.
So these are like tests. So they're testing like 10 stories with all of us,
Could be.
and we're the focus group.
Like, which one do you guys like the best?
Or I mean,
yes,
just
and guess what? 0 for 1.
in some point of Multiverse of Madness, like maybe we see a universe where this did happen, and then we just see this in live action. We see Skinny Steve.
Skinny Steve, who gets like shot in the stomach and like he gets all right, then he's flying around in an Iron Man suit. Don't get me wrong, like that was awesome. Like I was like, that's
Yeah.
cool, but like also like very ridiculous, even for a Marvel movie show. How about Red Skull getting his hands back on the Tesseract and opening up a wormhole and just letting through a crazy space octopus?
That reminded me of Starro, honestly.
Oh yeah, hey, you can't skip ahead.
I know.
I want to.
We gotta finish this.
Man, that's rough. I'm
yeah.
trying not to like dog on this and get caught up in that because I did enjoy it. I had a good time.
It was different.
It was different. I'm with you, Andy. It's like I'm not sure how I'm supposed to feel about it. You know, like it's like, are you just supposed to? Is this supposed to be like a, you know, a 20-minute little in the background show that like you just like, oh, that's kind of cool. Because I was watching it like an MCU thing, and I just was kind of thinking like, this is okay.
Yeah, I had my like notepad out and I was gonna take notes, and I was like, "What the heck do I even say?"
Yeah.
I don't know.
It's because we don't have a lot to say about it, is the truth.
Yeah,
And
but-
that's exactly why it's hitting that point. But like, it was okay. It looked all right. And I'm with you, Andy. I think you mentioned you're like, oh man, it was okay. But like next week, you'll be so excited to see T'Challa.
Yeah, we got
whoever it
8
is.
more. I'm not gonna stop watching it
Mhm.
by any means.
Oh,
and
no,
I will
we're-
be very excited.
All right, let's talk about the end of this thing. Then we can wrap it up. So Nick Fury is at the end, and it's because she goes through the wormhole. It's like the same ending as Captain America, right? Instead of him flying his plane into the ice and saying, "I'll dance with you later," and then he wakes up and he's with Nick Fury in downtown New York, and he's like, "I just had a dance," you know, that whole scene. Yeah, I mean, I'm getting emotional thinking about that. Well, this one is Peggy Carter's got to push a space octopus back through the portal, and like during this push, the same like little dialogue happens. He's like, "I thought we were gonna dance," and she's like, "Saturday," and they fall in, and then where does she go? She pops out basically where Loki pops out in the Avengers movie 2012. It's Nick Fury, Clint Barton, Hawkeye, just like you found him in Avengers, except instead of Loki coming out, it's Captain Carter. But Nick Fury says the same line. That was Samuel L. Jackson.
It is.
For sure. I could tell that for sure. He goes, "Drop the sword." And like that's like he says the same thing in Avengers, but he says, "Drop the spear," because Loki's
yeah.
got his
Yep.
thing.
Good call.
All right, that was kind of cool. You know, she's out of time and she's like, "Oh, we won the war." And but like, you know, "Oh, I just owed someone she didn't say that, but in my head I was like, "I owed someone a dance." You know.
It's just so weird. It just ends, and you're like, "Oh,
Yeah.
all right, next week."
Yeah, see you next week. It was a quick one.
Yeah.
All right.
Brand new story.
PC Mike, anything you want to add on this? Anything else? Any other tidbits from the internet you saw? Your feelings? Let's wrap this thing up.
Sebastian Stan was Bucky in this.
Awesome. There's a
Red,
joke in there about his arm, right? She like grabs his arm. He's like, "You almost took my arm off."
Yeah.
Red Skull was the same guy, I believe, Ross Marquand.
Same guy from Captain America: First Avenger.
The Avengers Affinity War.
Oh, see, that's a different guy. Different actor played him in
Yeah.
Captain America: First Avenger, and
It
in,
was what's his face?
The
He's
first-
pretty famous.
the first guy was from the guy from Captain America: First Avenger is the guy from The Matrix,
Yes.
Mr. Smith.
Yeah.
But different actor, I think, in the last one. But either way, so okay, he came back. Who else did they have in here?
Nick Fury was there. Jeremy Renner was Hawkeye. Clint Barton.
That was him, Jeremy
Mhm.
Renner. How about Doctor, the doctor that had the super soldier serum? Not I want to say Lichtenstein. That's not it. Erskine.
Erskine. Stanley Tucci.
That's him.
Yep.
This guy was the
Yep.
same guy from the movie.
The redheaded mustache guy that's in the band of like brothers. You see him like a redheaded dude with a big mustache.
I can't remember his actor name.
Or a
but
goatee.
He was in
Walking
He
Dead.
was Damien Dark in Arrow.
Nope,
remember him?
that's a different guy.
What do you think his name is?
I don't think so.
It is yeah, for sure.
John Flynn.
Yeah, John Flynn. You're thinking of
Brady Whitford.
Damien Dark was Clancy Some Clancy Brown.
This is the guy. This is the bad guy from Billy Madison. Plays somebody. John Flynn.
Oh,
whoever that
yeah.
is.
Actually, Mikey said something to me during. He's like, "Hey, that's the guy from Billy Madison, 100%, right?"
Oh
And I
my
was like,
gosh.
Bradley
I listened for a
Bradley
second. I was like,
Whitford.
yep.
Toby Jones. Oh, it's Toby Jones was in there. He's been in some things. That Zola.
Andy, did you feel like there was anything here that would like have any kind of impact at all in the MCU that we know?
No, I don't. That's what I'm just confused about. Like
Yeah.
How, unless we could see like a glimpse into this universe, but like it's not going to affect the universe we know unless there's some way to. That's what I was thinking on the way here. I was like, how we're going to get to a point where they're going to be jumping like universes. How is
yes.
it going to get there? That's my next big question. Like,
Well, there's infinite possibilities, right? Like that's the whole point. Is like there's infinite Earths, like infinite timelines. You know what I could see happening? The fact that you told me about that article, Andy, where they said what if episodes could become live action versions of what we're watching. I could see it one day being like, this is how the watcher like sees these stories, and it's how he tells them. And then one day the camera goes to that watcher, those eyes in space, and like it goes through like a film or something, and it's like, boom, it's live action. And then
Oh, that'd be cool.
and then like that's like a big reveal in like a later episode or a special or something. So maybe that's where they're headed, and that would be kind of cool because then then you start feeling like there's a little bit of setup.
Mm-hmm.
But right now it fell a little flat. Episode 1.
Yeah, Hugo Weaving was Red Skull in those first ones.
In the first one,
Yeah.
that's Mr. Smith.
good call. I could not think of that name. But yeah, this guy's
PC.
Got the whole PC. That's why. Hey, that's why you're here.
I got this guy's name, Neil McDonough.
Who's that? Redheaded guy?
This guy, yeah, he was in the
He's got the boiler
actual
hat.
movie. Yeah,
Andy, any final thoughts on this first episode? Ready to see the next one, I guess, right?
yeah. I'm just ready for the next one.
Have they gave any indication of what will be next, or is it just going to be like,
I don't know.
here you go?
Only things I've seen is Chadwick Boseman is going to be
And
in
multiple.
4, yeah, like 3
3
or
or 4.
4. I thought I saw 4, but
And I am pumped because, dude, we're gonna get Michael Rooker as Yondu.
there's 9 total. I think 1 got lopped off the end for some reason because of COVID.
Yeah, it'd be cool if it was like an hour, and they like had a little exposition.
Yeah,
But they bank on you knowing about these characters, so they tighten it up.
yeah. It's so fast. They just move around. Like, how many movies did they just show in one?
Do you think it's a
30-minute
little
show?
more younger kid?
That's
I
also
think
what
it
I'm
is, too.
thinking.
Just
Yeah,
because WandaVision, Captain and Winter Soldier, they're
Some,
not.
some
No,
of the-
you're right.
Some of the
Loki?
jokes and
You're-
stuff, I was like, what?
you're right, man. And I think this is like you forget that this is on a platform called Disney Plus,
Mhm. And it's a cartoon.
and it's a cartoon. And that's where I think I go into this thinking like, you know, they made this for me, right? I'm the MCU fan. They made this for me. Well, they made this for me, but they also made it like if I had a daughter, you know, they'd be like, this is really
Yeah.
for both of you.
For sure.
Or a young son or whatever, just a kid in general. But all right, what if episode 1? There it is in the books. Captain Carter, we saw the story. Will it go anywhere? We'll find out. Episode 2's next week. We'll talk about it. And of course, you can find this review along with the rest of our MCU reviews in our preferred watch order at mostlysuperheroes.com/MCU reviews, ratings, connections. And yeah, again, I've actually gone into the website and revamped the order. It's actually, I don't know if I've even talked about this on the show with you guys that much, but I did. I went back in and I've changed my mind. Black Widow changed everything. Black Widow changed everything in terms of watch order because now I had to pluck a movie out of the release and put it back. And now that I'm looking at the MCU in total and looking at phase 4 as we're having 12 to 24 titles come out over the next 2 years, I'm realizing you're not going to be able to play this release order game anymore. Like, you need to watch if you're here to like pick up the MCU, I'm going back on what I said. Like, release order, you know, it makes sense for Star Wars in my mind. But like, even then, as you're talking about new audiences coming in, people that have never heard of a lot of the stuff we're talking about, like, you just got to start at the beginning. And honestly, starting the MCU with Captain America, the First Avenger, Captain Marvel, like those.
So then do you throw this episode into...
This one is TBD. So right now, it's just going to go at the end. Because it's TBD. I don't know where you put this. You
I
can't
kind
just
of
put
feel like it's standalone almost. I don't know.
it does. It feels standalone. It doesn't tie to anything else. It's like it's what if. All right, mostlysuperheroes.com/MCU. We'll be talking about all the time, and we'll talk about the rest of MCU. Right now, we're going to take a quick break. When we come back, it is time for the meat, the chunk, the sizzle. We saw the Suicide Squad again, not once, but twice. Cannot wait to talk about it with these three. Us three. We'll be right back.
The meat.
Welcome back from the break. This is Mostly Superheroes. I'm your host, Logan. Here with PC Mike and the Giggler. Yes, it's time for the meat, the chunk, the sizzle. It's why you came. It's why you're here. It's certainly why I'm here today. I just said it during the break. Thank God we got through all that bullshit so we can talk about this movie. Talk about James Gunn, The Suicide Squad. Saw it on HBO Max on Thursday myself, and then Andy and I saw it at the IMAX at Ronnie's in Marcus Warenberg Theater here in St. Louis, down there off South Lindbergh. For you local folks, I really like to tag those local theaters because they do a good job. They work hard, and we bought our tickets through Fandango. I kind of want to bring people into the fold of how we buy tickets and go to the movies.
I like that because I also use Fandango.
Yeah,
and remember, like how confused we were of just walking in trying to figure out how to get in.
Well, yeah,
the,
it's because of
like,
it's because of the pandemic, and everything is always. We've been there literally 4 weeks in a row, which is hilarious. And every time we've gone, the ticket structure has been different. Either there's a kiosk at the beginning where you can like put in your code. That didn't work this time. Or you go to the front desk, or which wasn't this time. This time it was, meet the attendant 50 yards down the thing. Thank gosh, Carrie's with us to read that sign.
Direct and read.
Yeah, she goes, come on, guys. It's right. Here's the sign. So, yeah, we saw The Suicide Squad. Here we are. Can't wait to talk about it. Oh, my gosh. So much fun. Second time, I think, was even better. And we'll kick us off with gut reactions as always. But first up, let's just kind of rehash exactly what happened with this movie. First of all, let's start with you, PC Mike. You saw this over the weekend. How'd this go for you, man? Just tell us some reactions.
I mean, first reaction, it's one of, if not the best DC film in the last decade, I would say. I mean, the first Wonder Woman's up there, but this was fun, nonstop.
Oh my gosh!
And not just for like big DC superhero people. I mean, my wife loved it as we watched it.
Carrie also loved it.
Yeah.
Carrie went and saw it with us last night too, a second time.
I love that.
All right, man. Great instant reaction. Giggler, how about you? Even though I know because I've been with you. Tell the listeners how it's been going for you.
Oh man, I honestly, I'd watch it again today.
Yeah,
if I had the time, but
I think we're going to be dancing around the word perfect here probably today a little bit, and we're going to be talking about maybe why it is or why it isn't. Let's just do a little rehash. I like to set the stage a little bit. Here we are in August of 2021. James Gunn directed this thing. It released officially on August 6th on not just theaters, but also HBO Max. Produced by Charles Roven, Peter Safran, production company, of course, DC Films, Atlas Entertainment, and it's based on The Suicide Squad. Created by John Ostrander, if you didn't know. And what a cool guy that must be to come up with a group like this. Looking at the poster here on Facebook and YouTube, some of the best fan art and posters and promotions for a movie I've ever seen. DC went all out. James Gunn went all out. And yeah, man, let's just talk about the elephant in the room. There was an original Suicide Squad movie. You might remember. What was that? 2013? No, way later than that. 15, 16 maybe? Yeah, Will Smith was in it. Also, a lot of the characters that are in this movie that came back. So you had Margot Robbie in there.
2016.
2016. I'm not going to focus on that, but I just want to address that it did happen. This is the Suicide Squad we're talking about. 2021, a full-on reboot. You don't need to see that one. You don't need to see Birds of Prey. You don't need to see anything in the DC universe at all to enjoy this movie and appreciate it. And that's exactly why I loved it. You see these characters that you never met, some that you're like, oh, you recognize them right off the bat, and then you feel it immediately. This is a new movie. This is going to be something fresh. It's going to hit you with what you need to know. It's going to tell you about what's going on. And first 10 minutes of the movie, Amanda Waller sets it up with Michael Rooker's character, Savant. That's how the movie opens, man. Just the Savant guy, white-haired Michael Rooker throwing this ball around. Spoiler alert for the movie if we didn't say it. I don't think we did, but we're going to be talking all about it. Amanda Waller says in the first 10 minutes, hey, you know the deal. Come work for me or I'll blow up your brain. And then if you win, you're free. There you go. Suicide Squad explained. I mean, this poster, I'm speechless right now. I don't even know where to begin with how this goes. Giggler, talk to me, man.
It's just funny to think about how many of these people are like in these posters and did a lot of like media for the movie, but then they were just gone in the first 10 minutes.
It's so funny. James Gunn said it like many times. Don't get attached to anybody. Who do we lose in the first 20? Let's just go and say SNL guy. Pete Davidson.
Davidson.
Black.
Traitor.
what was his name? Black. Yeah, Traitor. He's like, I'm the one that called you guys. Gets blasted in the face.
His head was just
Richard Dick Hertz, Blackguard.
Blackguard. there you go.
Blackguard. Never even found out if he even had powers. We got Weasel.
Weasel was hilarious.
What the hell?
Did you guys see Weasel's penis?
I don't think. I guess you saw it in IMAX.
In
He pointed-
IMAX, you
he
couldn't
pointed
help it.
out to me, and I was like, "Oh
I go,
my
look,
god!"
I go, look, there's its penis.
It was
Captain Boomerang, he was in the first one. He came back. He's gone pretty much immediately. Cool.
Javelin.
Oh my gosh, dude. That scene second time around was just as funny.
Team-
Harley Quinn just for what? Hold this javelin for who?
TDK, and it wouldn't tell.
oh my god!
He wouldn't tell the names. But it's the,
TDK.
but it's the detachable kid. And he like throws his arms. And he's like slapping him.
Rick Flag, who's in this, he goes, TDK, those guys. And he goes, all right. Boop, boop. His arm. And it's just like, and the soldiers are just like mildly annoyed.
And then, Savant can't take it, and he runs off. But what they did, are we doing a little plot?
Let's go.
Amanda Waller set up one group to fail
Yep.
and another group to succeed.
Yep.
So you see all this massacre happening, and you don't know what's happening, and they cut.
She was cut to team 2.
Boom.
Boom.
You get John Cena.
Talking about a bag of dicks.
You get Idris Elba. You get
King Shark.
King Shark, who was Sylvester Stallone, voiced King Shark.
Amazing.
The Polka Dot Man.
Polka Dot
and
Man.
Ratcatcher 2.
Ratcatcher 2, team 2. Yeah, let's give it up. What would you say? It's got to be at least, if it's not the best DC movie of all time, it's at least the best first 20 minutes of any DC movie. Like, what an entrance. You get that team 2, and it's like, boom, this is the Suicide Squad. I also want to address the elephant in the room that, we had a big talk last week about theaters and streaming services and the big battle, and I made a big case for, like, if you're a big fan of something, which I'm not like a diehard Suicide Squad fan, but I love DC, and Thursday night,
You had to.
we were laying in bed, and I'm looking at HBO, and it literally is just like, push play, and I look at Carrie, I'm like, this is how we're watching this right now.
You have to.
Yeah.
I read a big
don't
article.
blame you.
They said you can't. They're saying it's a box office failure, but then people are like, you can't say that. People get it for free. It's not like a Disney feature that you have to pay $30 extra. It's free.
Yeah.
They
Oh,
pay
yeah.
$10 a month.
No
And
one
it's
should
free.
call this a box office failure.
Well, let's go ahead and address that. There's a lot of elephants in this room today. The box office, it didn't perform that much, but like, let's just talk about what the numbers are. So this came out of got an article here from Hollywood Reporter, and it looks like the box office on this thing in North America, this may have been updated since I have it, Mike. So if you see something new, let me know. $26.5 million in North America, 72 million globally. So
Yeah,
just
it's about 72.
about 72. For a frame of reference, I thought it'd be good to bring in a couple recent films. So we have Black Widow, right? Looks like that opened for 80 million on the big screen. And F9, Fast and Furious 9, was 70 million.
But because
These are US.
you
totals.
could not get those without paying, Fast 9 you couldn't get anywhere, correct?
Correct.
And Black Widow you had to pay $30 at home to watch
It
it.
would have been $30 on top of your Disney Plus subscription.
This is with your subscription already.
Of
So
cour-
it's just hard to even.
And according to
You can put
Brandon
it in a link.
Davis, according to Brandon Davis at Comic Book, Mike, to your point, he said that there were over 2.8 million U.S. households tuned in over the film's Friday to Sunday release.
That's the number right there.
2.8 million.
However many of those are new subscribers that stay subscribers, that will be there.
Are you
major
doing math over
success.
there? I hope you are, because that's exactly what I was thinking. If you figure average movie ticket for the United States is what, $10 probably, right? Because it's like, you might have the cheaper $8 states and you got like $15 movie tickets at places.
Yeah.
Oh, that's
And
easy.
two people in each of
That's
those.
easy math.
That's
2.8
households even,
that's-
not people. So
I just-
280 million.
Well, I just did 2.8 million
Yep.
times 30, which would 2 tickets, or if you did premium access with Disney.
I like that.
Yeah,
Eight-
because that's a single person, or you're also accumulating maybe some families in there.
So $84 million.
So you're,
Yeah.
oh my gosh, wow! When you talk about it like that, that changes the whole conversation.
And they said, like, Warner Brothers gave them the slate, HBO, to do this, to get their subscribers up. and clearly it's worked.
It's working. People, well, especially right now. I mean, you got these variants happening. We can't ignore what's happening in the real world at this time. A lot of people are blaming that, but like blaming, I'm like, I don't know if we need to be blaming anything. You put the box office with the HBO streaming, that seems like a fine release weekend to me.
Oh yeah.
And
People are calling it a failure though, but they're only talking about
They're looking at the numbers. They're not looking at the deeper picture.
They're not.
And look at this, Peacemaker, is gonna have a show that's gonna come out in the next year. So I don't really know exactly when, but
January, I think.
after this movie, who's gonna cancel their HBO Max
Oh.
with that on the horizon?
Well, and
Not
now
me.
and they're the ones coming out first saying like we're not going to charge you for these movies. Man, this is man. Like I said, we are living this. But getting back on the movie itself, I mean, I gotta say though, tell me if I'm wrong, Andy. Seeing this thing in IMAX was a better experience. It was
so beautiful.
So beautiful. Like the scene. Let's talk about Harley Quinn. Margot Robbie showed up for this movie. I think she almost stole the movie. How much? Like I just wanted her on screen all the time. But man, getting all these other characters mixed in. Her she goes on that killing spree after she kills basically one of the bad guys in the movie, the president that wants to marry her.
Yep.
Because he starts talking about killing kids. She's like, I'm not having it. She starts going through and has this beautiful scene that is one of the most unique things I've ever seen, especially like in a movie, a superhero movie, you would call it. Just flowers pouring out everywhere she's killing everyone. So she has a gun, then a spear. Every time she stabs someone, she's moving through this big, beautiful room. And on IMAX, it was crazy.
Yeah, it was beautiful.
Crazy beautiful. This movie's hilarious too, by the way. You got Idris Elba in here playing Bloodsport. Were either of you guys familiar with Bloodsport coming into this?
No,
A little bit, but not probably like you were.
Not me.
That guy.
Really?
Not me.
Even though he put Superman in the ICU with the kryptonite bullet?
Trust me. I heard it, and I was like, I looked at Carrie and gave her the eyes, like, whoa, you know. But what do you know? I mean, this is like a semi-famous guy.
I mean, hand up, I get him, Deadshot,
And-
Deathstroke, like all of them kind of mixed together.
and
in
they
a
all
bag.
wear like similar
Yeah,
stuff.
and they're all
too.
like shooter guys.
That's fair.
And like,
or swords,
Yeah.
shooter and swords.
but yeah, are we still doing the plot, or are we just kind of talking about
Bounce around. Whatever comes coming to mind. Yeah. What do you got in the plot part that you want to talk about?
these guys? So Group 2 makes it out, and they
Mhm.
have to start on the mission to figure out do they tell them what it is, or
Yeah.
do they just let them go?
Essentially, it's that was the part that was confusing me for the first time, and seeing a second time helped a lot. Was there's this country off the coast of South America, I think it's South America, and they've been overruled by these tyrants essentially,
Mhm.
and the country hasn't had freedom in many years. And there's this tyrant, and the tyrant figured out this program that NASA discovered back in like the 70s or something called Operation Starfish. Project Starfish. And then you see the footage of it, and this is where we meet the Thinker.
Yep.
And the Thinker's helping this government out because they're kind of a shady government that doesn't let their people vote. And what we see is the footage of Starro. This is what we find out the name of the star being this alien starfish, which I've never been aware of.
Now,
Looking at you two. And
No,
NASA
no,
finds it can spit out these little mini versions of itself. They suck to people's faces, and then it can control the brain. And the bad guys are basically planning to use this to take over the world. Amanda Waller in the U.S. government has sent the Suicide Squad there, the elite bad guys from Belle Reve, which I'm very familiar with Belle Reve. This is where they always keep like enhanced individuals in the DC comics. Team 1 and Team 2 of the Suicide Squad to go there. What they are actually going after is we don't find out this till the end. But what you think is, we got to take down this bad guy. They have this big alien star, and we got to do it. And I love the way they tell this story because
I do too.
they do a lot of back and forth. So you meet the two teams, and then it does 3 days earlier. And it kind of walks you through the prison.
Mhm.
We meet Bloodsport's daughter, who they equally hate each other. I loved it.
Love the like just going back and forth.
Just screaming. Got Pete Davidson throwing, little toilet paper off his shoe to Idris Elba. I love the introduction of the characters. Like, this is a big joke, I felt like, on the first movie a little bit, where the guy goes, one, how hilarious is the team of people that works around Amanda Waller, all of her, like,
Mhm.
her crew. You got that big, burly, redheaded beard guy, and he goes, the camera goes, like, right to him, and he goes, who's Bloodsport? And it goes back to her.
Yeah.
Like, okay, someone asked because she would always like in the first one, not try to compare them, but it's hard not to sometimes. But you know, she says this is blood sport, trained by his dad to be a killer since the day he was born.
It was good.
Anything in his hand is a deadly weapon. And then we get the introduction for Peacemaker, and it's the same exact thing. And Idris Elba goes, "Is this a joke? He does exactly what I do,
but better.
but better."
God,
Yeah.
I love him.
Let's get into it. John Cena, you two big wrestling fans. This guy's been making it in the acting game for a while now. I mean, I just saw him in F9. How was he in this movie? I really want to hear someone talk about it.
I think it's the best he's ever been in a movie.
Hands down. Agreed.
James Gunn said he is the best actor he's ever worked with off improv.
Off improv.
Like to improv different things, do
What?
improvisation.
This
James
blows my
Gunn says he's
mind.
the best he's ever had.
That's a wild statement. I mean, coming from James Gunn.
And then I think it came out that Batista was possibly going to be Peacemaker, but he was busy. So then John Cena got the role. And John Cena's like, sometimes you have to.
There were parts where he felt kind of John Cena, but like I know we're like kind of going through the plot, but you know, kind of getting to the end. Like by the end of this movie, I'm 100% in.
Oh,
Like I'm so in on that character specifically. Even I'm just like the big fight scene with him and Flag in the end. I'm sitting here going, this guy is scary a little bit.
I love him.
What'd you
That's all I
think?
can say. I love. I
had a
can't
good
wait
time.
for that show. I don't.
Yeah.
It's gonna be so
Peacemaker.
good.
let's get through the story and then break it down a little bit.
All right.
So
good.
So we're out of Team 1. So Team 1, we had Captain Boomerang, Weasel, Harley Quinn.
They were Team 1, but they were
Flag,
the B team.
Javelin,
Yeah.
TTK, and Savant. 2 of them make it out.
Yeah. Harley
Harley-
and Rick Flag.
Rick Flag.
That's it.
Team 2, we're going with them. We get their backstories. We're going with them. They make it through the jungle. They find a
Camp.
a camp that is of terrorists.
They think it's the bad people,
They take them all out.
but it's not the bad people.
It's not. It's the resistance.
Oh,
They get to the
yeah.
door and they find Frag, and
He's
like,
drinking tea.
yeah, he's like, let me get my men together, and they're like, oh,
They go, she goes, why didn't my people alert me you were here? And
There were no people.
there weren't any people. we didn't see anybody.
so
They
then
Massacred.
they make their way.
King Shark almost eats Ratcatcher 2.
Yeah, and they have to talk about being friends, and
You get John Cena, Peacemaker, and his whitey tighties.
Oh God.
King Shark gives him a toy too at one point, like a Peacemaker. This is later on, I think.
He makes a bomb out of
Yeah.
Peacemaker. But okay,
So
yeah. So,
anyways,
they
they-
get through there. They team up. They're like, okay, we're gonna head into the town, and then they gotta save Harley first.
Yes, and then Harley's just like walking down the street. They're getting ready to climb up the thing, and then she's just there, and she's like, "Well, what are you guys doing?" Like, "Well, we're coming to get you."
We're here to save you.
And then she's like, "Oh,
I
I
can-
go back up."
I can go back up there.
And then they get to the Thinker because we have a lot to break through.
So then it's time to go to the bar and wait for the Thinker. So they find out that the Thinker works for this bad government, and that we can find him if we go to this bar and wait for him. And this was just like a feel good,
Yeah.
10-minute sequence.
having drinks,
Having drinks, laughing.
coming together.
He's like, we're gonna be here for a few hours,
I did feel bad for King Shark that he had to stay back.
and they showed him in the van, like hanging
kinda
out.
sitting there.
Really sad.
Yeah, it was sad. I didn't expect to get those feels.
What about the little waving rat? You meet the little waving rat from Ratcatcher 2. Yeah, okay. So then they get the Thinker, and now it's time to head to Jotunheim. This is the big building in the middle, big tall building where they're like, okay, we're gonna go figure this thing out. You get Milton, who's their van driver.
Oh man, that's one of the best recurring jokes of the whole movie.
That was so good. Milton.
Who's
No!
Milton?
Who's Milton?
She's like,
Milton dies.
You're telling yeah, Milton dies. She goes, you telling me we're with a guy named Milton?
He's like, he's been with us the whole Polka Dot Man. He's been with us the whole time.
How good is Polka Dot Man?
I think
Great.
he's my favorite person in the whole movie.
I think he might be the best one. I mean, just his whole backstory. His mom worked at Star Labs, was obsessed with making her kids into superheroes. Half of them died, half didn't. He gets dots all over his glowing dots. I love it. They're like, hey, what's going on with your face? He's like, I fell.
He has to release them twice a day.
Has to release them, and they're just like, they just destroy whatever they touch.
You can't control them, I don't think, once they're out.
Yeah, once they're out, he just like he's
Yeah.
just unleashing them. But he was really great. I really want to see more of that character. And I mean, we're getting to like the to the end here, you know, like just the big part before.
And then we find out that
Yeah.
it is Starro the Conqueror. It's a giant alien starfish. We start to unravel that, but then we find out one team has a mission, but then one other person has a secret mission.
A secret mission.
Inside the mission.
And that was
Peacemaker.
Peacemaker. Turns out Rick Flag finds out that, hey, man, your government. The Thinker tells him. He's like, first of all, the Thinker's really messed up.
Very.
He kept this starfish. Who had the saddest story of all? I think it was a starfish.
Yeah.
Just
He
got
gets
yanked
out
out of
and
space,
then-
yanked out of space, brought back home, and back to our home. And what happens? Thinker locks him up and tests the human subjects who are under the starfish's control in all sorts of nasty ways, like operation stuff, sex stuff, like really. I mean, and hey, we even talked about, man, this is a R-rated movie.
Sex stuff? What?
Yeah, he was like, and he makes a couple jokes about like how like perverted he is a little bit. But it's a hard R. I mean, you got boobs in this. You got
F-bombs.
You got willies.
Oh yeah, this is bad.
You got
This is like
You
this
got
has everything.
Weasel Willies.
you got weasel willies. You see, you get one guy in the camp that they like destroyed. They weren't supposed to.
Oh, yeah.
Just flat out. There it is.
Dongs out.
Lots of gore. Peacemaker when he's in killing mode.
Yep.
Oh,
Same for
so great.
for Harley Quinn scene you talked about. There was like 20 people that just died in like a 1 minute.
Just
span.
murks him.
Yeah.
So Rick Flag finds out from the Thinker. Okay, hey man, you're actually sent here to destroy evidence, and Peacemaker shows his colors immediately. Waller brought me here to make sure that this went down, pretty much knowing that he'd probably be the only one to come back, essentially.
He's the most loyal. He is.
He's loyal, and what's he say? He's like, I do love peace, and I'll kill every man, woman,
Yep.
and child until
Great
I get it.
Yes.
They have a great battle. Peacemaker ends up coming out on top.
Comes out on top, kills Flag.
But
Glass to the heart.
Ratcatcher 2 sees him. Bloodsport versus Peacemaker.
Bloodsport falls 8 stories, one at a time.
Boom.
Oh yeah.
Boom.
Then
And
that's
then
what they do
where's
to-
he land? Peacemaker's got the gun to Ratcatcher 2. And this scene hits. And you know why? Because like they did such a good job with this story.
They set up what happened before though.
Yeah, they
you-
did.
I mean, you guys
On
have
the-
seen it twice.
On the bus.
They shoot at each other at the exact same time.
Oh, this part, yes.
Bloodsport's bullet goes inside of Peacemaker's, hits him, he's down.
Right in the neck.
But before, Peacemaker said, I have a
I-
better shot than you.
Yes.
He said, well, how if we're the exact same? He said, my bullet's smaller and will go through your bullet. When in reality,
Yeah.
was
Bloodsport.
foot.
Yes.
Dude, Bloodsport, his like suit and everything was
Awesome.
so badass.
Unbelievable. His guns?
Mhm.
Like not his arms, but his like regular guns.
Yeah, I was like, I want one of those.
Like how does he put this thing together? They're like the most advanced technology driven Legos. He just hooks them in and they're like
yeah,
kind of
and
like
that-
Iron Man nano parts a little bit.
yeah, the helmet it just seems like so simple, but it looks so cool.
Puts Peacemaker down. Like this character was great. I mean, he ended up being just a badass. They
Mhm.
get the drive, saves it. Flag's dead. Peacemaker's presumably dead. And it's time to go back home. Amanda Waller says, you got what you came for. If anything, this war that's happening at this town will be good for us.
Just leave it.
Just leave it. Just make this big mess. Let this big giant star called Starro the Conqueror
Kill everyone.
and take over everyone. How about King Shark? What's his name? Anawe?
Anawe.
Yeah.
Good job.
He's in that big water room and he meets those little friendly
Yeah, they all
things.
follow
And
him.
then once they get out, they start attacking him. He falls. King Shark, by far the toughest of the group.
Mhm.
Oh,
Can't
God.
really be. He's like indestructible.
Kind of like a Hulk,
Yes,
Smash, King Shark, or Anawe.
that's
Eat.
num num.
Num num.
Nom nom.
Yeah, I thought that too. The second time around, especially, I was like, this is like straight out of Avengers.
So you see these bad guys, quote unquote, fight to save this town and take down Starro.
Polka Dot Man, dude.
It's-
He lets it loose on his giant. Everywhere he looks, it's his mom.
Yeah.
The revolution of them hitting Amanda Waller in the head with the I don't know what it was. Like
Yeah, because Waller was going to execute them all because
That-
they weren't listening to orders. And then her
Yes.
team, her misfit team, hits her in the head, knocks her out,
I
lets them
saw
go,
that.
gives
I
them
was-
directions.
That was great.
so happy.
Hey, what a villain.
Yeah.
Like she nailed it. She's just like a hard, badass woman.
Yeah, she's like not like super evil, but she's just like on that line of good, and she's on the other side, and she'll do whatever it takes to get the job done.
And the guy even says it. The funny guy is like, "Hey, you're not gonna really hurt his daughter, will you?" And she goes, "You don't have the first idea about what I wouldn't do." And he's like, "Oh shit!" But I was like, "Hey, you work at the Suicide Squad thing, man. You better, you got to nut up."
So they conquer it. The rats.
Hold
Eat
on.
him up from
We're
the
skipping
inside?
through some big parts here. One of my favorite parts of the movie. Polka Dot Man unleashes his polka dots on his giant mom, a.k.a. Starro's foot.
Yes.
Here comes a cuss word for you folks that are keeping track and got kids. You go, I'm a motherfucking superhero! And then, bam! And Carrie loved this movie too, by the way. I was looking over at her once in a while. She's literally laughing. She's smiling. She's like, you guys call it a superhero movie. You know, she's like, this is a good movie. This is just a good movie. But, you know, she's like, that right there, him yelling that line, like, that's it. Like, these guys are just like this other group of people. Like, she picked up on the exact premise of where the Suicide Squad came from. Ragtag group people that don't want to be heroes. And then here they are just trying to, like, lay it down for this town. And, yeah, dude, big ending. Ratcatcher.
Yep.
Who turns out, you know.
Harley Quinn pokes the hole.
Ooh, dives into the Starro's eye.
That was
And then all the
weird.
rats eat it out from the inside.
She has that flashback to her and her dad, Taika Waititi. And they're
I
up
thought
on
that
the
was him.
and it
It
was
was?
up. They're up on the building, and she's like, "Why rats, Daddy?" And he's like, "Because if rats, the most revolted, nasty creatures in the whole world, have a purpose, then surely I do."
I'm calling
line.
it Ratcatcher. Taika Waititi gets his own spin-off show.
I saw something.
Pretty cool.
I saw something about him wanting to direct one of the next DC movies, and he's been big in the MCU.
I think that's
Come to me.
what their end game is going to be. There's just going to be a lot of spin-off shows of these people.
How crazy it'll be if MCU just and then DC. Oh, what are we talking about? I don't even.
Hey, let's not
Let's
not
not.
go there.
I'm not. I didn't say anything.
This is 1 week where there was a great DC thing and I mean, comparatively
a
subpar
Yes, lukewarm Marvel thing.
But this is not. This is only temporary. They can't
Yeah,
keep up the pace. Put the pedal to the metal 52 weeks out of the year.
Yeah.
But
So then at the end,
Yeah, let's see. Where do we leave all these guys? That's fun.
Bloodsport has the drive. He frees his teammates. Kind of uses that drive as leverage.
Yeah, he calls her and he says, "We're all free now."
Yep.
And we won't tell anyone about this. Harley's kind of upset because Rick Flag's like basically dying wish was that like get this out, but he's like, "Hey man, you
We're
can't
out.
win them all. We're out. We're out of prison.
We saved everybody.
Yeah, we
They
saved the
they
city."
set up the elections. They did all that stuff with other people.
Yep.
Um,
That girl's like, "That's my dad."
and then they're free. And then we have some post-credit scenes.
All right, post credit scenes, and we'll just go around and just nerd out about this thing. So
First one.
first one,
oh yeah,
Weasel is not dead.
I was gonna correct you guys earlier, but I was like, wait, that's a spoiler.
He wakes up on the beach. No one's around him. The fight's over.
It's been over. It seems like for like 2 days.
Yeah. And he just gets up and wanders into the woods.
He's just a heinous creature that can probably live through just about anything.
I want to know all about him.
I
Like,
do
where'd he
too.
come
He
from?
killed kids.
Yeah, he goes. All I can tell you is he killed 27 kids. It's like, we're working on him. He's one of the team.
And then the big one.
And the big one, just the pure setup of what we knew was coming, but to see it played out on screen was pretty cool. You get the Amanda Waller like B team, the guys that were working with her in a hospital, and he goes, "Why do we got to talk to this prick? And who is it? It's Peacemaker. He's alive. He had a heartbeat when they found him. He's in a hospital." Anything else with that?
Nope.
That was it, right? It was just showing him like this is not over.
Let me flip back to Weasel. Do you guys know who plays him?
No.
This is my favorite thing.
I guess Sean Gunn.
Yes.
I knew
Is
it.
Yeah.
Isn't it weird that you could guess from like I saw him too and I was like,
because he's
that is Sean Gunn.
isn't he he's like Groot, I think, or he does some stuff in the
He's,
Marvel movies too where he wears like a lot of CGI friendly stuff. He always has
Who
like
was he? I read about it. I'll look it up as we talk, but
Okay, so that's the movie. That's what happened. And I'm sure we'll think of more as we kind of go around the table here and just talk about exactly what
he's Rocket.
he is.
Motion capture.
He's
performer.
motion capture. Yeah, he's motion capture Rocket,
Yeah.
and then Bradley Cooper's the voice.
Yeah.
All right, let's talk about this movie, man. About like how we feel about it. Let's get some ratings out here. But just of course, I'm trying to like really work out what it was about this movie that worked. I think exactly what it comes down to is one, James Gunn is good at this. He's proven it with Guardians of the Galaxy, and he came in and he did something totally new, totally fresh. I think it helped that this movie did better than everything else DC has done. The one thing that it's done better is that it didn't get caught up in its own exposition of like trying to explain to you why the main character is the way they are, or like giving you like, here's all this stuff about Batman and Superman that leads to this big fight in Batman versus Superman, where like this was just like drop you in with you don't really know any of them, first of all. And I felt like it helped also that they were in a country that like none of us really knew that well, because like nobody knows them. So it was just like they were just themselves telling the story, and with just really great writing. Good writing, like not too much, like exactly what you need.
Kind of a clear villain who was bad.
But also like kind of like who's bad. Oh, there's a couple bad guys. Okay. Because you had like her and then the Thinker and then the presidents.
But it wasn't like, what was it in the first Suicide Squad? Enchantus or something like that?
And like her brother from another dimension.
that was
Dumb.
It's not even
dumb, and they were like in
talk
some
about that movie
city
again.
and no one. Yeah, exactly. Like that's I really didn't want to, because I was like, this movie did just fine.
The comedy hit in this,
Very funny.
the R, thank God it was R.
It had to
It
be.
just pushed it over.
Oh yeah.
Had to be pushed it over. You're right, because it may
Because
have
I think the first Suicide Squad was PG-13.
had to be.
We're gonna try to sell as many tickets as we can.
Yep. Yeah, that's true, because that's the big decision you're making with a movie like this. Is like, listen, you got a guy named Polka Dot Man, but this is rated R.
Don't be confused.
How hilarious was it every time all of the people were his moms?
Hilarious.
I loved it so
Like
much.
literally Peacemaker, like as his mom.
King Shark. That was my favorite one.
One of the best shot scenes was Polka Dot Man dancing in the club.
Yes.
They're all dancing.
They're all getting it.
and the camera, and then he's dancing with all the versions of his mom. There's one on the far left, if you watch it again, that just has this massive beard and like it's green, and she's just like
That
really
actor-
getting it
That actor just has the life. He's been in every universe
Yeah, he's
of superheroes possible.
everywhere.
He was in the CW
He's that-
Arrowverse.
He was in Gotham. He's in
He's
some
that-
he's in
yes.
Marvel stuff.
He's
Oh my
that guy
God.
that you can't, like, you don't know his name.
Don't know his name
He's just
still.
David-
Who is
he's
it?
just
Let's
David.
say it right now.
David Dalmasterchin or something like that.
You're right. It is David something. We'll get it for him right now. We'll
He was
give
in
him his
Dark Knight
Uh-huh.
He was.
as a cop.
He isn't even like,
He's not even listed. Polka Dot Man?
He
Who is
is,
Polka Dot Man
but he's-
Suicide Squad?
he's right here. He's not in like the main part.
Uh-huh.
David Das Maschling?
Something
Andy
like
was
that.
right.
We had it. That's exactly what I said.
That's what you said.
So he's in the Dark Knight. Trying to think.
Like I want to see so much more on that character.
Ant-Man.
Yep, Ant-Man. Yep.
Ant-Man and the Wasp.
He's one of the two buddies, the three buddies.
Batman the Long Halloween Part 1. Batman the Long Halloween Part 2. Like,
Damn, he's in the cartoons too.
The Flash.
That makes sense. He's all
I
over.
think he was a villain. I can't remember which one.
He must be friends with whoever's like in this
Yeah.
world.
He was
Like, even though
Abra-
but he's that good too. You know.
He was Abracadabra in the Flash.
I mean, he's in
There you
Batman.
go.
He's in the Christian Bale Batmans.
Yeah, he's in. That's everything.
I want to see Polka Dot Man. I want to like this movie was the first thing in DC that made me think like, oh, I want spinoffs. I want to see this Polka Dot Man guy. I want to see more of Nawe. I mean, this Margot Robbie. I said it during Logan's letter this past week, but you know, if I was on the fence about Harley Quinn at all, not to say I really was, maybe I was a little bit. I just wasn't a diehard fan. I'm not like this one. I'm not this guy that like loves Harley Quinn so much. After this movie though, she's unbelievable. Like I said, she almost stole the show a few times where I'm just going like, I want to watch her the entire time.
I think she saves those other movies for being unwatchable, though.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. Yeah, if she's not in it, they're just
Yeah.
bad.
That's true. At the same time, like sometimes when she talks, I'm like, this is stupid.
Sometimes
Like when she made the comment about the angels splooging, I was like, that's very weird.
That's her.
that was
What's the point
that
of
was
that?
her. Well, and Carrie said like it's an interesting character, right? Because it seems like Harley Quinn has to ride this line of like being smart but ditzy, but also like tough and brave and strong, but also like friend and a caring. Like she's like so many things.
Because I think that's the character, because she's not there. She is a doctor. She is a psychiatrist.
Right.
But the Joker broke her, so now she's just all looped.
yeah, she's getting tortured and they're shocking her with that stick, and I was like, you're not gonna get anywhere with this. What else? What do you guys think? What do you guys love about this movie? What do you hate about it? I mean, what do you guys? I'm trying to like picture the rating in my head, and it's
You want
hard.
to do ratings? Go around and talk
Let's
a
go.
little
Let's
bit.
just do it. Let's just see where it goes. Go ahead, Mike.
Score rating 3.75.
Woo!
Whoa, he threw a second number in there.
I like it.
Third number. I like it.
I don't think there's many things wrong with this movie. I think it's below the Dark Knight trilogy, but it's right there for me.
And it's its own movie.
It's its own movie. The characters I love, and I'm glad I remembered to say this. They basically said, all right, here's characters that you know. Here's Captain Boomerang. Here's this. You know what? Clean slate. They're gone.
They're out of here.
Here's your new Suicide Squad. Love how they did it.
But we're going to keep Harley and Rick.
We're going to keep the guys. Yeah. The main. Well, not Rick.
Not
anymore.
Rick, though.
Damn.
Good
Yeah,
point, though.
That stung.
Yeah. Here they are. Oh, all right. That's done.
That's
we're not.
over.
Or we washed our hands with that. Now we're starting over. James Gunn. I looked it up. The Peacemaker comes out in 2022 January.
Wow.
He wrote all 8 episodes and directed most of them.
Oh, man. Oh, man.
See?
And, like, how is that show going to go? It's got to be, like, flashback mixed with future, like, current state, right? Him, like, all messed up after this movie, but then, like, flashback to his life of, like, why he is the way he is.
And then the back and forth between Peacemaker and Bloodsport, great. Polka Dot Man, stole scenes.
No one likes a show off.
King Shark.
Unless
Yeah,
what you're showing off is dope as fuck.
Yes. yes.
King
Thank you for
Shark,
remembering that.
awesome.
Yeah.
I cared about King Shark by the end.
Yep.
I loved Weasel. Every time I looked, Rachel
I did too.
was just cracking up the whole time he was on the screen. And at the end, like him running away at the very end, made it. But yeah, there's not much wrong with this. Maybe next time, I know I said I like the villain, but maybe there's, I don't know, a little too cartoony of a villain, maybe.
Yeah, a little bit.
But that's it.
A little cheese.
Yeah.
And
But
you
yeah.
gotta have a little bit of it because this movie's so ridiculous.
For sure.
Like
Yeah,
the
it fits.
ridiculousness of all of it is what makes it what it is. I feel like.
But I think this is going to jumpstart something. And I can't wait to see it.
Well, yeah, I'll get into mine. Andy, let's go to you. I think you should start with your rating because. Sorry, lost sound there. You can start with your rating, and then you can see how like it gets your mind going.
Yeah.
So why don't you kick off with that?
All right. 3.6.
Woo! You just knew.
I decided that Friday after I watched it. So
I wrote down mine too last week. Okay.
But yeah, I echo just 99% of what Mike just said.
Mm-hmm.
I would put it below. I'll put it above Batman Begins on the Nolan
I can see
trilogy.
that.
But I mean, those other two movies, like Dark Knight and Dark Knight Rises, like,
Can't.
not many movies are ever going to beat those.
I think
That's so
it's
true.
I think it's on par with like
Those are 4 O's or 3 9s.
Batman Returns area.
Yeah,
Like
no,
right
I mean,
around there.
I'm gonna watch this multiple times just as a rotation of like a lot of the original Batman movies, and exactly like we just said, the Nolan verse. Like if those movies are on TV, I see it's on. If I see it on HBO, I can put that movie on at any time from front to back of that movie, and I'll have a good time. I think this is going to be the same, where it's just going to be on. Assuming it's going to be on regular HBO, not someday.
It's only on HBO Max
30
until
days.
30 days.
Yeah.
But then it comes back after like 30 days.
Yeah,
It's interesting.
Because Wonder Woman 84 is already back
And
on there.
that again is just part of the test, right? Let's see if people go to theaters after a month or something.
but I just loved all these characters. Like I hope I could almost. I just like looked at this photo that the YouTube viewers will look at, and I could almost see an enjoyable spinoff for like every single person.
I
Like,
know. Yep. Yes.
that
I
I would
agree.
be completely okay with. Like I said, Ratcatcher, throw in Taika Waititi, whatever. Bloodsport and his daughter get their own show. Bring it on.
Yeah.
A whole weasel show about how the hell he got to be a weasel and what he is. Done.
Yep.
So, or I mean, even some of the people that died earlier, like Pete Davidson, I would love to see. Pete Davidson's hilarious. I would love to see him. And
He gets a whole
I
show
think
just about him.
His comedy is like perfect for this environment.
Yeah. It fit just fine.
But Polka Dot Man was not my MVP though, for real, and Peacemaker as well.
Nice, dude. Good reviews for both you guys. I'll go and throw mine out there and just get right in the review. I'm a 3.7. I loved it. I'm with you for sure. I see spinoffs everywhere. The whole time I was watching this, I'm like, I see why they did Peacemaker, and I see how that's going to work. And I think like they could do that with literally any of these. I see what happened with this movie, and it really gets me energized and really hopeful about what could happen with DC. Like you look at what was tried to be done with the Justice League, and it was so bad that they had to remake the whole movie and make a different version because they just couldn't figure out how to make the Justice League cool. They couldn't figure out what to do with Wonder Woman, Batman, Superman, and then guess what James Gunn did? He took 15 people you've like never heard of or know next to nothing about, and all of our gals love this movie that don't watch DC stuff. Something special like really did happen. Like this is a movie that I'll watch this over and over and over. On the rewatchability, it's up at the top. Like you said it. Like we watched it 2 times. We watched it 2 times in 4 days, just because we wanted to again. And if you're on the fence out there about seeing this thing on IMAX, I'm definitely gonna push you over the limit to go do it.
Yes,
and we owe a big thank you to Chris Killian from comicbook.com. That tweet kind of is what got that jump started.
Good call. We owe it to him as well. And Ronnie's. Love Ronnie's. I will always go to Ronnie's.
Hell yeah. Ronnie's, Fandango, Chris Killian, everybody that made it happen. But yeah, man, 3.7, DC movie that like it was hyped up so much. If any expectations were too high that a movie could have been set up to let you down, this was that movie. But instead, it exceeded expectations.
It really did.
In my mind. Like problems with it, if I had to nitpick, like I think John Cena and like I liked him as the movie went on more and more. Like by the end, again, that fight scene with Rick Flag, I'm like, this is a scary character. I want to know about this anti-hero. But at the beginning, he's very John Cena.
Mm-hmm.
Go ahead.
I kind of would like to see like the shitty characters more. Like
Yeah.
TDK.
Yeah,
That'd be funny.
TDK, that outfit,
Yeah.
his powers. I just love how like his arms aren't just detached, like his bones are showing.
Yeah.
You can see like the blood inside.
Just a little bit more. I'm not saying a lot more, but it was just that scene was so crazy and so funny that I wanted more of it.
Well, here's some good news for you. Carrie caught this in the second watch. Doesn't look like he's dead. Looks like that whenever they showed a screen afterwards of deceased, that his was still lit up.
Really?
And if you think about it, they never shot him. They just shot his arms. And they're shooting his arms in midair, and he's over on the ground going, "Ah!"
He was just
honestly cracked my shit up when they're shooting his arms and he's just reacting to it, like thriving all around the ground. But they did show him like bleeding out. But I guess while they were showing most other people that were dead, so you could be right.
What's TDK stand for?
It's
my name. It's like, but what do the letters mean? Every name has letters.
That's good. Then it wasn't his name though. It stand for the detachable kid.
Yeah.
Ratcatcher too. I thought that girl was great.
Yeah.
She's unbelievable. Like I wanted to see more of her. She just stole the screen, I felt like, all the time. And like, what a power. Like I have this magic wand that controls rats, like the little waving Sebastian.
Yeah.
He's just waving at everybody.
Yeah. Idris Elba was great.
He was.
That
suit was so
he's just
awesome.
good. He's good at
just
everything.
like
He is, but he showed up like in like this was a different character for him.
Mm-hmm.
Like he was like kind of like the character from Fast and Furious, Hobbs and Shaw a little bit, but like
that's what I was thinking.
A little similar, but like funnier for sure. Like whenever Peacemaker said that joke about showing off, and Idris Elba was like, "Fuck, that's true." All right, guys. I think we got it. Anything else you want to add on this thing? I think it's an all-around win. I don't know if we talked about it, but it is. This was from today. 7.6 on IMDb, 91% on Rotten Tomatoes. Dropped a little bit from that 100, which I guess over time you're just gonna get it.
I think 7.6 is a little low, but I'm not gonna nitpick.
74% on Metacritic. I agree. For an IMDb, there's superhero movies that do better than that, and I feel like we're proving it right now
It
that
should be in the 8s.
you don't have to be a superhero movie to see this. If you're asking yourself who this is for, I mean, if you're gonna watch it with your kids, it's a hard R, so get ready for that. But your kids got to watch this eventually because this is just a fun movie.
Exactly.
All right, man, that's Suicide Squad. You can find this along with, I was also going to share some other folks out there, what they thought online, some of the people that we follow a lot. We already gave a shout out to Chris Killian for getting us to go see this on IMAX. This is the tweet that got us to do that. We got a little combo. You can go follow Chris Killian at Chris Killian on Twitter. Also from the comic book family, Brandon Davis, of course, went and saw this. He got to see an early premiere. And this is just the very beginning of his post on Instagram. You can go follow him at Brandon Davis BD, but in all caps, the Suicide Squad is insane. Wow, it's just wild. Totally agree. And then from the Facebook group on Facebook, the Mostly Superhero Squad, Kenneth in there, one of our recent new members, gave a spoiler-free review. Mind-blowing visuals and jam-packed action sequences. Hoping to see more of these in the DC EU. And I totally agree. This is, that's kind of where I was going with it before, is getting excited about spinoffs and stuff. But really, I get excited about thinking about James Gunn and Zack Snyder, like, maybe getting in a room together.
Like, crazy to think about.
It is, because, like, you don't know exactly what would happen. But if you could somehow mix this mesh of, like, one, you don't want to break anything James Gunn is doing, but like, how would you apply this to like a Batman movie? And would that even work? And like, would it be cool? Would it like not be cool?
I've said it before on the pod. I'm fine with them having separate things and not connecting.
You're always saying that too. I know.
And this is a perfect
I
example.
agree.
Like, just let it stand on its own.
Let it stand. We don't need to have 27 continuous movies. It's great. It's crazy how they do it.
That is the
But
big,
like, what if?
that's
Like, that's not fitting for us. We just talked about that today.
But we got this Peacemaker show.
I just don't see Peacemaker and Batman, the Batman movie, in the
Crossing paths?
same universe.
I
I
mean,
mean, maybe this
it's
is
hard to think about. That's
maybe
my-
this is Earth 2 or Earth 1, whatever they call it.
Did you know that there was a script that James Gunn considered about just the Suicide Squad taking on Superman?
Yeah, I did see that.
Come on, Henry.
I mean,
Come back to us.
how
That's awesome.
I can't even picture it because
Maybe
of the
two.
DC stuff we've seen.
Maybe 2.
Maybe 2.
I think DC's going to give James Gunn the keys and just say, hey, we trust you now.
I hope they do, man. I
Me
hope
too.
they see what they're doing here.
Well, they gave him a Peacemaker show, 8 episodes.
That's true. Well, exactly right. They said, you know what, we like this already, even before the results of the release.
Yeah.
All right, guys, the Suicide
wild.
Squad. James Gunn nailed it. Go see it. You can find this review along with any of our other DC reviews at mostlysuperheroes.com/DCU. Go check it out. We'll keep it updated and we'll keep you apprised of what we're hearing in the DC world. With that, let's talk about what's coming up. Wrap up the show here. Nice little Wednesday here with the boys. Monday, if you're listening, Sunday on Patreon. Coming up, as always, MCU. Pending any delays. I don't even want to put that out there. I know. What If is here. So one episode at a time. You can count on us talking about it for the next several weeks. 9 episodes of that. We'll keep you apprised. Shang-Chi, 3 weeks. September 3rd. We'll be seeing it. And then the next thing is the Eternals. Keep the MCU train moving as always. And that's it. All we got for coming up. We'll do What If next week. And we need to pick a meet so we can think about it. I'm out of town this weekend, going to Michigan with the lady to see her parents. Can't wait. And I'll be thinking about it, but we need to brainstorm. We don't have to decide right now.
Okay.
And if you want to find out what we're watching, you want to know ahead of time so you can plan for the episode, get in the Mostly Superheroes Facebook group, and we'll drop it in there once we decide. Giggler, let's start with you, man. How'd this go for you today? What was your favorite thing we talked about? I'm just kidding.
I really loved What If. It's probably my favorite
Oh,
MCU
man.
thing so far.
Be honest.
I'm only kidding.
Be honest. What If kind of let us down, huh?
Yeah. Maybe we could do something where like fans decide what we talk about next week. Who knows?
Like a fan nomination?
Like a poll, maybe. Just throw some of the DC movies on there that we're thinking about watching, and just go from
Because
there.
DC, we're not doing it in order.
No, not at
Yeah.
all. Not at all.
I don't really want to watch 5 straight Supermans.
Yeah.
No,
I think I need a break from those.
we decided we're going to bounce around, and you know what? We will always take fan requests, but yeah,
Let's put something in the squad.
put something in the squad.
We'll say what DC movie, because we've talked about first 2 Supermans,
Mm-hmm.
and we've talked about Batman and Batman Returns, right? That's it.
That's it, really. I mean that, and yeah, that's pretty much it.
And Suicide Squad.
And we haven't talked about the Bale movies.
Nope.
We haven't talked about Clooney's.
Nope.
Kilmer.
West.
Why not? Why not West? I like that idea, Andy. We'll put
Let's
something in
put
the squad. PC Mike, any words for the squad before we take off for the weekend?
Oh, man, I'm just happy DC put something out that's awesome.
Yeah, I'll give it up for that.
DC Mike
About time.
DC Mike.
in
Hey,
his house.
if DC Mike is saying that it's the best that's been out from that, I mean, it's true.
Wonder Woman's really good. I mean, the first Wonder Woman.
The first one, not the recent one.
No.
84 was pretty bad. But then, like I was saying, the best thing that came out before this was the Snyder Cut. And even that is just like its own thing.
Yeah, I mean, this is the best since The Dark Knight Rises in 2012. 9 years.
That's good. That's a good call.
Spot on. I'm glad it lived up the hype too, because it could have been one of those that like, hey, listen, you made 20 different posters of this every week. Who cares? It sucked. It didn't. It was awesome.
We've talked about it. I've been pumping it up for about a year. Now that you have HBO behind you, now that you have all this movie does well. Peacemaker, TV show greenlit. We got the new Titans coming out that I think is going to be better than the first 2 seasons. I think DC found something with HBO.
Yeah.
And they're going to take it and run with it.
Yeah.
Hopefully. Because I'm not going to lie, the first 2 seasons of Titans were kind of hard to get through.
Well, and those were DC Universe. You're totally right. You got different people coming in. And also you got Doom Patrol. You got other stuff on.
You go back and finish that,
and that's great. And you talk about wacky, like definitely like would work with a crossover with characters from that and this. You could do something like that for sure.
There's a teaser for that released the other day. Did you see that?
Oh, for Doom Patrol?
Doom Patrol, yeah.
Yeah, I did. I just saw like a poster or something though. I didn't see an actual teaser.
It's like a minute. It looks it's gonna be good.
Well, and it was a big cliffhanger in season 2 because they had to wrap early because of the pandemic.
I forgot like what's even happening in the show other than the cliffhanger. I was like, I don't remember what's going on with anybody, but the teaser got me pretty jacked.
Yeah, we'll have to talk about if we're gonna like rewatch some of that or maybe just rewatch the last couple episodes or something.
Yeah.
Either way though, Doom Patrol will be on here. We'll be talking about that. DC's here, man. They're showing up, and the Suicide Squad's obviously reignited a spark in us. And we'll get in here and keep you apprised of it. You can go subscribe at mostlysuperheroes.com, guys. We appreciate you. And new episodes every Monday, Sunday on Patreon. And call that damn studio phone, 754-CALL-LOG. We watch for messages. We'll be watching for you in the Facebook group. And we'll see you next week. You guys take it easy.